going. We'll finish this one later. I wanted to start the new day with a new drawing. I set a timer for about an hour. Let's check the placement here. That's cool. It's spring, as you may have noticed, and I often go out and look at the trees and the environment, and I'm very inspired by the colors and the shapes that I see in nature, but also just how humanity interacts with it, like the juxtaposition of cars and houses with trees and foliage of that sort. And I was looking out, and you noticed like the leaves starting to bud. Like, I never really paid close attention, that transition period between winter and spring for trees. It kind of just sneaks up on me. But this time I was watching, and I saw like these like sort of buds that have clusters of leaves in them. It almost looks like flowers until it opens up, and they start really small, and then they like grow into like full leaf size really quickly. It's maybe been a week since I noticed the buds on the trees, and it just speaks to a season of life that I think I'm experiencing right now, where the other day I went to an open mic, and I was kind of feeling like, oh, what are we doing here? Like, isn't this kind of small? Isn't this kind of low key? It just sort of thoughts like that. Like, I was kind of defeating the experience before I even had it, so I had to shoot those things down before I went up to perform. But this morning I was looking at the size of the leaves and how they've grown again, and I was like, I can't hate the humble beginnings, because it really, first of all, it won't be this small again. You can blink and miss it. You can miss the growth and these kind of precious moments before it becomes what we always dreamed it would be, or what it was always supposed to be. You can find yourself undervaluing, underappreciating these moments, and seeing the trees today just reminded me of that, and I was like, yo, like, I don't know, it's spring, it's rebirth, it's the revitalization, and it's like, it's important and significant that this time I'm aware of it. This time I'm watching the growth, and I'm appreciating it, the beauty in it before it becomes a thing. And then I'm obviously, when summer comes around, I'm gonna appreciate the beauty of that thing as it fully blooms. But I can't give up on it while it's this small. You know what I'm saying? Like, my aspiration is to be like an international artist, of all sorts. I want to do film and music, comics, paintings, video games, if we get around to that, either soundtracks or concept. There's a lot of things in me that I enjoy and that I am drawn to, but it's going to require a lot of work and patience, and using my time and my energy wisely. I've been spending too much of my energy on I guess just worrying about what isn't. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, it's not big, or there's not enough people listening, or um, this doesn't have that, or it doesn't have that, and it's like, yo, it's in a season right now where it's growing, and that it's not growing, you know, in the way that you want at this particular moment doesn't mean that it's not still doing what it needs to do. You know what I'm saying? The trees gotta grow down and build roots before they grow up, kind of thing. And so that's kind of the reminder that I have been exposed to recently. And with that was the reminder of documenting the process, because, like I said, it could all change overnight, or it'll feel like that if you're not paying attention. Um, you know how, like, you live with your cat or your dog, so you don't really notice when they, like, get big, but someone who hasn't been around and suddenly comes around is like, whoa, buddy's getting kind of big. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we're too close to it to appreciate the growth that's happening. But I want to appreciate my journey, and all the stages of it while they're here, because we're not getting these moments back. Human being will never be this small again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll never be this unknown again, for better or for worse. And so, I need to appreciate everything that this level has for me. And like, I was walking around and I was like, man, I'd love to film something here and film something there, and it's like, I absolutely need to do that. Like, I can't put my energy into just, oh, I'd love to. Like, I need to actually put the energy into doing it, because let's say in a year's time, if I have access to, like, budgets and locations, like, the simple things around me might not present the same opportunity that they are now. You know what I mean? If it ever gets to a point where I find it difficult to walk these streets without being stopped or something, the beauty of, like, the simple, low budget kind of shot, I'll have missed it. You know what I'm saying? I'll have missed the window to capture that, at least here. And so, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to miss the perks of being what I am right now. In between where I'm going and where I've been, there's a lot of beauty here. There's a lot of things that I will only have access to in this window of time. And yeah, so I want to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can with what's currently available, because you know what I'm saying, there's so many shops on these streets that have closed since COVID, and things that were even, like, staples for years before I got here have gone. You know what I'm saying? So there's no guarantees that these opportunities and these locations and things will be available to me in the next season, or even tomorrow. So that's and it doesn't. I'm not worried or dismayed about that fact. It's just something that I'm aware of, and that I'm recognizing that it requires my action. I'm kind of assuming sometimes that, oh yeah, it'll be there tomorrow, and then it's not, and it's like, oh, I had everything that I needed yesterday, and I didn't do anything with it, and now I have to wait for another opportunity like that to show up, or I have to try and make one. And trying to make your own opportunities for certain creative things is really, in my opinion, it's a wrong use of energy. That's something, there are people who have the energy to do that, and like that are good at making things happen. But a lot of creative folk, at least that I'm in contact with, like making your own opportunity and things like that. Like it takes something from the art, and that's not like across the board, but that's my opinion, and that's just what I've observed, and at least in myself, especially in myself, like I'm much better. My energy is much better spent capturing the spontaneous and being in the moment, and then finding the bits of beauty and interest and intrigue and mystery in those moments, and then giving that back to the audience or whatever. But the I'm better at recognizing it than I am at creating it, if that makes sense. Um, and so I've recognized it today, and I'm like, yeah, it is time to act on what I'm seeing and hearing and feeling, what I'm praying and hearing back, what I'm reading and receiving, all of that. It's all coming into play. There's so much changing in life, subtly and overtly, but it's the subtle things, it's the little things that build and accumulate into these massive things. And that's good or bad. So keeping my eyes on the changes, the subtle changes in my day to day, the subtle changes in where's my energy at, where's my focus at. Um, those things are increasingly important. I'm realizing, and I'm starting to really lock in on how I manage those things. Because I don't want to spend my energy thinking about things that I could do. I want to spend my energy, the bulk of it, doing those things, or refining the things that I've done. And so that's really like the bulk of what I wanted to discuss. I'm looking at this drawing, and so far, it's like standard fare for me. I usually go into these without a clear vision or goal, and I kind of just keep going until I see what it could become, and then build from there. And I'm starting to see something here. A lot of my stuff deals with faces. I don't know, I guess they're easy for me to see. Like I definitely see faces in trees and in clouds and stuff like that. So it's something that's it's there, almost as second nature when I draw eyes too. But usually these drawings are like just to kind of get my hand moving, and to let my mind kind of process and unwind. Like there's a lot of thinking that I do that's not connected to words. So I might like think a memory or a feeling or an aspiration for the future, and while I could describe it with words, and words may be involved, like I might be saying something at like a show or an event that I'm thinking about, it's not words that these thoughts come to me as. They come as images, they come as feelings, they come as just sort of amalgamations of things that I've seen, in life and in dreams, and you know what I'm saying. So it's difficult to articulate in words, and drawing is a place where I can kind of process those things without getting overwhelmed by the scale. Like, one of the things I said to a friend of mine was like, it's kind of hard to know how big a thought is while it's still in your head. And so when you write something down, you can see, oh, that's actually a really dumb idea, but like it was huge in your head. It was taking up so much space. It was making you worry. It was making you, feel. But when you express it, when you get it out on paper or in a voice memo or in a song or whatever, you start to see, oh, that wasn't really worth all the sweat. It wasn't worth the energy that I was given to it. And so these drawings are really just a space where I can do that. I can kind of assess my thoughts and feelings from I guess, a safe distance. There's like the thought in my head, and then there's the process of it getting to my hand, and then the seeing it on paper, versus how it kind of felt in my head, in my thoughts. You're saying there's a lot of like reality checking happening in the course of a drawing, especially when like these where I'm not really planning things. I'm kind of just feeling them out. So yeah, I find it extremely helpful to work in this way. The only downside that I sometimes feel is like I sometimes would prefer to draw something more representational, and that's not always what comes out. Like, it often comes out as like, almost like this AI mass of half-finished concepts. I mean, I can refine them and like add texture and shading and value and whatnot, as much as I want, but the actual image, the subject, isn't necessarily representational in a lot of the final products of these. But I mean, I guess that's not the goal. The goal is really just to process. The goal is just to warm up or get started or whatever. But sometimes I wish that my default was more representational. But that's also evolved over time, because there was a time where it was. There was a time where I drew like primarily comics and manga influenced art, and like I still do for commissions and stuff. Ooh, that reminds me, I have a commission I gotta get started on today. But yeah, these type of drawings are definitely interesting, and they've taught me a lot about myself. So again, what I'm saying, humble beginnings, or the beginning doesn't match where you maybe want to go or where where you're headed, but like there's a beauty to this moment, to this style of drawing. There's a beauty to this way of understanding the world that I won't have tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll have new information. I'll have new ways of looking at things. I'll have new resources. I'm saying? I'll be doing like 30-foot drawings. Who knows? Who knows what what the next phase will hold? And so, while it's good to plan and to have a vision for the future and where you want things to go, it's the way you get there is by doing whatever is in front of you today, by working with what you have today. And so this weirdo style of drawing is what I have today, and so I'm rocking it. I think that's it. So I'm gonna put the rest of this video on, what do you call that? Time lapse? Yes.